up until that point, like I just felt like I couldn't be stopped. And let me tell you what, I went full stop.
Welcome to Business Technicalities. I've got Sean, who is silently judging our grammar, and Juan Fernandez. We're going to talk about just some interesting aspects, your participation and everything. I see that I think it was all the way back in 1994. You got your MSCSE, and you've had quite a journey since then that put you in a lot of different realms we're going to be talking about from business aspects. And yeah, but Sean, let's go back to this real quick. Usually you have a silly shirt on, which I know you still do, but yeah,
I do.
unathletic.
Yeah, it's the unathletic. Rest is best.
Yeah.
I fully believe in that. I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah.
I'm actually working on I put it in my budget request for if Connectwise can have recliners ready for me at every event that I can just sit back. I realized what I wanted to be in life were the two grumpy old men that are on the Muppets that sit up in the balcony.
Oh, life goals.
That's they just talk smack. That's who I want to be when I grow up. And I'm hoping Connectwise will help fulfill that dream of mine by giving me the recliners and a balcony at every event.
And just judge everyone. That's
exactly right. Exactly. Speaking of judges, is why Juan Fernandez is here.
Yeah, Juan Fernandez. We've talked about this.
I don't know that I'm judging everyone that's on the show, though. Let's just start that off. Right?
Okay, maybe not everyone here. He's going to judge Sean a little bit at least. But
I am going to judge Sean maybe a little bit.
Yeah. I was first a little bit. Let's clarify. He's judging me a lot, and that's okay. We're friends. I've accepted this.
But in a more official capacity, he's not judging Sean. He's officially a judge for the Connectwise Pitch It event, which is essentially a Shark Tank-like event. I'll leave some links down below to dive into more information on that. But that's among the things we'll probably have in the topics here.
Absolutely.
Yep, he is. And it was, and I will say, as we went through the selection process of looking for judges, we tried to make it around we talked about who was instrumental in the space, who was effective, who was known, because you want them to know who the judges are. It's kind of the same thing like when you watch, America's Got Talent. Everybody knows who Simon is, and he doesn't ever bring people that aren't known. But there are also people that have been practitioners. And I mean, Juan was a pretty easy answer. Not to take any credit, but I did put your name in first, just so we're clear.
Oh, wow.
So just so you know, but there was not, when we talked about it, we had about 10 people we were looking at. And we boiled it down to 3, and I think we have a really good, strong 3.
Yeah, that's a great group. I'm looking forward to it. I think, judging is really difficult, right? And when you're looking for the right kind of judge, you want to have somebody that has background and things that they bring to the table. And I think the judges that you picked this year, when I saw, obviously Jay McBain in there, and then I also saw Allison Francis, I was like, that is a strong set of judges. It's different, right? It's not the same run of the mill, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. Like, first off, like I said, back to you all are in touch with the pulse of what's going on in general in one way, shape, or form. Like Jay is and we actually interviewed Jay earlier today, and it was very high. He understood everything from the top level of like the executive concept, right? And that's what you need. And he even specifically said, I'm here, you're here. We're going to come and meet in the middle here and have this work together. And I see you as being the grassroots guy that came up. And so back to being a full-fledged practitioner, that would be you. So it's kind of hard to debate that. And Allison, she's always engaged in everything partner related. My Lord, vendor, partner relationships. She's on every stage. I swear, for every conference. Like, my goodness. I don't even know how she does it. And then I see pictures of her like hiking in the middle of like beautiful places. I'm like, how did you do both?
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's always like traveling it. She makes me jealous because I'm like, all that extra time I'm putting in, busting my butt, working, she's out enjoying her life. And I'm like, more power to you, Allison.
Right? And she's younger than us, I'm sure. So she's smarter than us, apparently.
There's something to be said there. I definitely will agree.
Yeah, maybe she can write a book and help
Somebody's
me.
Gotta do it.
Like, it will be like Save Sean's Social Life.
Yeah. Is there really saving though? Can we save that, or I don't know.
I like that. I thought it flowed well. Anyway, whatever, fine.
It's a bestseller. It's a bestseller. Allison,
I would agree. I would totally agree.
We're all voting that you write that book, Save Sean's Social Life.
It'll be like it'll be like 10 pages and lots of pictures and like pop-ups.
Yeah.
Please
With
don't
a
get
little color by numbers at the bottom.
I'll take that, dude. Seriously, and with a packet like crayons.
Yes.
I'm good with it. So let's talk about you now. Let's take away from Sean, even though Sean's pretty awesome. Let's talk about Juan.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to introduce you in a way that makes sense because you do so much, right? And you list yourself as a channel champion.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I would even just leave it at that too, because maybe you're the people's champion.
I love the underdog story, man. I think that my biggest thing, like, I started off just like everyone else, right? I started off with a hope and a dream to one day, like, have a business that I could, call my own and experience some sort of success. And, I think just like everyone else, as a technician, as an engineer back coming into the tech realm, like I worked at the help desk at AOL, man. Like, I started off in cancellations. I wasn't even technical. Like, you know what I mean? So like going to getting my certifications and then getting my, all of my feet underneath me, and then like getting a reputation around, quality service delivery and being an engineer. I started off just like everyone else. There's no difference between me and anyone else. It's probably on the show. And I think that when it turned a corner, when I finally had reached those goals to, find success in just personally, from a certification and a technical perspective, that I got some confidence to a point where I decided, you know what, I got this. And I was working at Sandia National Labs in cybersecurity and in the early days. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go start my own IT company. I feel confident enough that I can go do this. And that was my first venture into business. Didn't even know how to start a business license, man. I didn't even know what that meant. So, I mean, it was kind of one of those things, right? And of course, I didn't do a great job. I built a great company, I actually had somebody at the table to buy it, had built a really great company. Had back in the day where everyone was building PCs, I was building services, so it was fun. But to that point, I wasn't very successful at it. So I went back into industry and I tried to understand, what I did wrong, why my business wasn't a humongous success. And I researched like kind of how businesses, what they look for. And then when I built my last MSP, we took that from 0 to 20 million in 6 years, and we made a ton of money doing it. But we learned that it was about the process, man. And so during that time, I had a lot of fun doing it. I was sharing our model with the world, with the MSP community. I was even giving it away, right? Like I created that 4 key go-to-market strategies. We won MSP Shark Tank. I mean, we had so much fun building that, but we were also giving back. And all it was about was just trying to like help people find their way in the dark, because I was there in the dark. I knew what it was like. And so for me, it's just, I want to try to help the MSP community just move forward, right? Like I understand all the challenges coming from all that and how much it sucks to not have community behind you. Because back then we barely had internet, man. Like
you worked for AOL. You worked for AOL. I mean, that was it. I mean,
yeah, it was like, we were I remember being in the like excited to be in the community action team just to like get some social like interaction with people, like other than hearing people how much they hated the product, right? So it was interesting, man. But
so what did you so that let's go back to the MSP.
Actually, I want to go back to something else, because this resonates exactly with what Mr. McBain had said when he did that interview. Was one of the key things he was looks for in the differentiators. There's so many different vendors, so many different MSPs, everyone's competing for space, but what makes one take off for another? And he said, are they a connector? Are they someone building community and giving back? And, he commented, talking about from the vendor side, Huntress, like, why is Huntress doing what they're doing? He said, well, they built and brought a community with them as they launched their product. And it really sounds like the same thing. You're key to giving things back. And, myself, as someone who creates a lot of content on YouTube, I will say it has dramatically helped my success. Well, at the same time, I'm helping everyone else by sharing a lot of my knowledge. I think that's an important thing to think about, because even if you're just an MSP, you're like, well, Huntress is cybersecurity, so they're giving cybersecurity stuff back. But even as an MSP, building that community and sharing that your knowledge you built of, like, you didn't have the most success with the first one, but the second one you did. And it seems like that community give back and engagement was a pretty key indicator.
Yeah, it is. And it's always been, right? Like everyone asks me all the time, like I just, when I exited the last MSP that I was in, I went and did all the Channel Pro shows, and I was basically just talking about how to grow your business, and I was telling everyone how to do it and giving away a lot of free advice. And I really hadn't decided what I was going to do yet. And everyone asked me, "What's success for you?" And I said, "It's not for me. It's what they get out of it. As long as somebody succeeds today, that's what I'm in it for." And I think that, to your point, anybody that does that, and that's just who I am, right? I've seen myself as a giver. And so I remember one time, one guy at one of the events I was at, speaking at Connectwise at one of their events, and I gave away 4 key go-to-market strategies. Some guy pulled me aside and he goes, "Hey, so would you mind, I know I'm one of your competitors, but you said I could ask you for anything. And I really truly think that you mean that." And I said, "I do." He goes, "Would you mind like sharing your pricing?" And I said, "Give me your email address." And I sent him our pricing, right? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you didn't hear about the 4 keys, because the 4 keys were about value, positioning, and process, and your program, and how that makes a customer successful. Here you go, racing to price again. And I sent it to him, and he didn't think I was going to do it. And I was like, because that's not what matters.
Yep.
That's
I was like,
correct.
if
So
you can have it,
how do
sure.
you? But okay, so how do you? You and I've had this conversation, so I know the answer, so to speak, sort of. How do you when you worked for this other MSP? What did you? We'll start with there. What did you do with this MSP that went to 20 million?
It was
What
all
was
about,
your job? What was your spot? What was your job supposed to be? Let's start with that.
I created it from scratch, like
Okay,
a
so
bar.
your responsibility was supposed to be CEO, right?
100%. Yeah, I ran that thing.
What was your jobs that you did though? What was your real responsibilities in it?
I created everything. I created every process, every procedure, every strategy, every
Mhm.
marketing campaign. And then I gave it to people and had them go and do it.
Right.
And
Okay.
that, and
So what did you and this is something Tom, I will go back to Tom with this too, like I always do. What did you find out in your journey during making this company? Because you have your trials and tribulations, you have your successes, whatever. What did you find to be the common denominator problem to prevent you from growth? Because we all hit that, right?
yeah, I think the whole thing about it, and I even call it like this year, I named it, right? Let this be the year of the strategic MSP. It was around strategy and process and procedure that enabled people to be successful, that created an amazing culture, that built amazing companies, right? And
Hmm.
so it's everything, right? It's not just one thing, it's everything, but it's a matter of being deliberate and having a plan for success. When
Sure.
I started, what we did was exactly what I said I was going to do. And we outperformed our original budget by a year. We were profitable in year 3, right? So we projected profitability in year 4, but we knew where we were going. We knew what we were charging. We never changed our price. We knew exactly what we were delivering. We knew how we were going to do it. And we just kept refining on that, which empowered the people to see that there was a level of success within the company, which ultimately brought in customers, because they were like, people vote with and we talk about this. I talk about this a lot with this great resignation thing.
Hmm.
People vote with their employment. So if you're seeing attrition and you're seeing employees move away from companies, it's because their program isn't built for success internally, which means most likely they don't have a program for success externally,
Yeah.
right? So I can see through that, and I look for that all the time. And I don't have to know. I looked on LinkedIn and I see your total number of employees has decreased over the last 12 months. That tells me you're lacking process, right?
I
So
I think there's a lot to it. I see everyone saying calling it the Great Resignation, but I'm like, no, some of these positions where there
they
was a
were
lot of
already
people
on
in
the
the
way out.
market. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of people in the market. So they took the job because you were the best there. There's not a lot of opportunity. Now there's more opportunity. It's really weeding out who's
Yeah,
got things built for success. We hired more people in the last year, not lost them. And
yeah.
it's because I have a team that wants to work where I'm, handing out raises, doing everything we do, making sure I can guarantee their success and creating an environment, simply put, that doesn't suck to work in. And some of these MSPs, man, you spend some time, as you said, you listen a lot in the channels. Go spend a few minutes over in some of the sysadmin channels. And I hate my job is like the first. And
No,
yeah, it's a common theme, unfortunately, but and they have some valid points. And now more people are doing that, but you have to build a company that it doesn't suck to work at. It's as simple as I can say it.
we used to say that we're built dream jobs, right? So we architected every role to be able to deliver hero roles. And we wanted people to be successful in whatever that specific role was within that specific job duty so that they always were happy doing it. And that was really an interesting opportunity. And I always try to do that. Like even now, I remember hiring people. The first people I ever hired in my last MSP, I actually would ask them, how much do you want? And they'd be like, so what's the job paying? And I said, no, 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 no. How much are you worth? What's your number? And they're like, no one's ever asked me that. And I'm like, you're working for the wrong place. And it was interesting because people value themselves in a certain way internally, right? And so I would be like, okay, yeah, that number doesn't make any sense. I know that's not true.
Yeah, right. Well, do you find, so I grew up from a Depression era family, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So I struggle with realizing my full potential, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And now, like my oldest daughter, her friend has no problem seeing her fullest potential and then some, right? And it's
Yeah.
like, and for like, so did you encounter both of those types? I'd imagine.
No, actually, ironically, because we wanted people without bad habits.
Sure.
We were hiring people that we were going to grow, which
Mhm.
technically there was so much more upside for them that it was actually a shock to get offers because of the fact that we were going to give them all of this investment and this monetary gain that it really made them feel like this is like the best thing I've ever done, right? I always tried to make people feel respected in their numbers as well as in their job duties. So I just wish someone had done that for me. I've been squeezed, man. You know what I mean? Like I remember being paid. My biggest challenge when I was young was to make the same amount of money that I was the age of. And it was like 18, I wanted to make $18 an hour. When I was 19, I wanted to be at $19 an hour. It took me forever to get to that, but I worked really, really freaking hard to try to make that happen, whether it was having 2 jobs or having 3 jobs to try to make that number work and try to unlock that code. Now, I far surpassed that, but
Sure.
I was
Well,
excited to see
that's subjective to your age. Let's be honest. So,
Yeah.
but we're
yeah.
conversation together.
We don't want to get into the age conversation, but it was funny because like my daughter, my wifey, when we were driving the other day, and she's like, your youngest daughter has like blown your equation so far out of the water because she's 23, she's making like 80K a year, and she's just doing just fine. And I'm like, yeah, she did something right. Like okay, cool. So all of my hard work went into helping these girls out. That's all I can say.
My kids are on track to do better than me.
That's great.
Which is perfect. Like why? Well, it's good for me because like I've told them, I'm like, you guys are my retirement package. Like you're my 401k. So I'm like, like at a young age, I started telling them like introducing like areas I want to live in. So like I want one to live like in Denver. I want one to live like in Florida. I want one to live in Germany. So if I get them all to do this ultimately with homes, they'll have their own families, right? I figure I can retire with very little money because I will just go live with them.
Yeah.
And for at least I'll get at least 1 year out of this, right? And by the end of the year, they'll be so sick of me, they'll pay for my flight to the next one's house. And then I'll go to that one.
Yeah. I hope your kids are watching right now so they can they can crack your plan. I want to send this link to them.
Oh,
your dad has got some plan for you.
I've already told them because I figure this much. There's 4 of them. So by time I go to the 4th one and I'm finishing the 4th year, the first one forgot that she disliked me.
Yeah.
You
can spread your anger for a little while.
They're going to invite you back for Christmas, you hope, right? And you're going to stay through like, Thanksgiving.
No, I'm just going to show up with bags. I'm not going to hide it. They're going to know like when like the U-Haul pulls up with my stuff, they're going to know what I'm here for. It's not like I'm hiding this.
Oh, that's too much.
Yeah, no, they're going to know. And I'm like, I can't wait for the next year. It's going to be a great time.
I don't know if I can get behind Sean's plan.
I can barely find enough time to go. I got to take a page from Allison's book. I'm trying to find time to go visit my daughter, more or less.
But that's why this whole plan makes sense for me. Back to my point. Like, as soon as they're good, I'm done. I'm not working anymore. I'm just going to go live with them. I'm gonna eat their food. I'm gonna eat their food. Use their laundry detergent. Everything they do with me, I'm doing all that. Like
Make a mess around their house, like, leave your shoes everywhere.
Exactly. And I'll play with their kids, my grandkids. I'll be great. I'll be great. Like I will be the in-house like nanny.
This I am afraid of.
I think it'd be awesome. It is gonna be awesome.
Tom, this is striking fear in both of us, I know.
Yep. No, it's not my plan.
I don't know if I'd leave my grandkids with Sean Lardo for a weekend.
Yes, you would. Kids love me. I'm good.
I'm sure they do. It's just like them with me, right? They would be like,
that's because I'm bald like them. They think I'm one of them. I'm like bald and I'm wrinkly. They're like, oh, look at this. He's another one of us.
And he's loud.
He's a big one of us.
I drool a little bit sometimes.
Likes bottles,
I drink directly from the bottle.
That's too much.
So coming back to you now, since we have we still have to talk about you a lot more, and this is all about Juan. I know you talk about yourself. So tell me, what was because you've done so much, what was a mistake you made? Big mistake.
I burned my business to the ground, right? My first MSP went down in flames, right? That story is probably one that most people don't know, right? They see me winning all these awards, doing all these things. It's all a compilation of the hard work that I put in, but there's fear that drives me. And the fear is that I know what failure looks like, right? So like I told my story for the first time recently. My first MSP, I got it ready. It was ready to sell. I had, done really well. I had multitude of houses and real estate and cars and everything that I thought would make me feel successful. And, one last thing, I got ready to do this thing called 8A, and it's a government contracting vehicle. And I had a integrated government solutions was a leg of my company that started doing really well. And so we started doing a lot of federal business. Well, as we were getting ready to get our 8A, we had to do one last deal. We had a acquisition on the table that was ready to buy us. And they said, look, as long as you do this one last deal, we're going to buy you for X amount of money. They named me the CEO of this another company at their Christmas party. I had to do it. And in January, they said, but you can't borrow any money to do this. You have to do this with your own money. You have to source this project for 1.2 million. And as soon as you do this, then at that point, we'll give you your 8A. You'll have self-funded the deal. This is the last thing you have to do. And then you can sell your company to this other one. And I was going to be a millionaire in my 20s, man. I legitimately was like, nothing can go wrong. So I took all of my personal assets, all my real estate, all my houses, all my cars, everything, and I stuck it all in here and I went and did it. And I got the PO from the government. We sourced all the product and sent it out. We started inking paper on everything until that money was to be deposited. That was the last thing. And then a new president took office, and the contract in which we did, they came back and said space vehicles no longer is funded and we're shutting it down. So there's no budget. And so all my money went away. And this government contract was based on money that was supposed to be given the next fiscal year, and it never showed up. So we spent a bunch of money trying to fight the federal government, and ultimately everything went down. Like there was no money left. So we lost our house, our cars, our lives. I mean, everything went poof overnight. This huge success story went out the window. And that was probably the hardest 3 years of my life, losing everything, telling my kids, hey, sorry, we got to move, you got to. And my kids are spoiled back then, right? So like we owned a limo company too, and they used to get driven to school in limousines. And then to go to like
I walked to school uphill both ways.
So they would pick up those kids, right? And they would take them, right? That was their thing. I was like, look, if you see them out there in the cold, like we would pick up all these little friends, and like they would take them in the morning because the drivers had nothing to do in the morning. So the mornings and afternoons were fine, and then the evenings and the weekends were really the busy time. So yeah, so like we went from this really extravagant lifestyle to like nothing, right? I mean, it was so. That's failure, man. If you want to talk about failure, trust me, I've been down at the bottom pretty drastically. And that story came out for the first time this year. I decided to share it, help MSP business owners understand what it took to go from great to nothing overnight and then back up. And then, all right, it took me years though. I mean, I went back in industry and I figured out on the like a chessboard and said, look, where did I screw up? And how do I perfect that? And so from that, that's how I built what I did. I already had it already. I'd been working 7 years on that thing to become that 6-year success. So
is one of the ones don't sign government contracts?
no.
Maybe understand the risks better.
Right.
No, man. I don't do any business with any government or federal agency at all, man.
I don't, but like
I stay away from a lot of the government stuff as well because of some of the same problems. They never made up a substantial percentage, but we had a city. And it turns out when cities have elections and cities get new mayors, sometimes they get new IT people. And we learned mid-project that we weren't the IT people anymore.
Yeah, I know people that do really well with it. And I know people that have, it's a lot of work, first off, to get involved.
Yeah.
First off, I mean, to do GSA pricing too, all that stuff. You want to do any of that stuff. Is.
There's a market there. There's a market there. My mistake was, I had built it and, this $40 million entity wanted to bolt on because they were exiting as out of the 8A program and they wanted to continue to keep that revenue coming in. That was why they wanted to acquire me. And so it made total sense to me. Plus I was getting a ton of money out of it. Plus I was getting a new company and about 150 more staff. So in my 20s, I didn't really see through the opportunity. Now, all these years later, I see where it went wrong. And I don't know that I could even stop it even if I knew then, right? No one knows that's going to happen.
No, right.
And so if I'd have known it was an election year, had it happened a year before, I would have been fine.
You would have got paid.
Yeah, I would have got paid, man. And that other company would have taken the hit of doing a bunch of work with NASA, right? So
that sounds like even better for them to take the hit. I think they would have recovered.
They would have been just fine. I wasn't.
It is tricky playing the game in politics because I know someone who does a lot of stuff. So I said, you don't have much of a website. And I said what his marketing budget was. And he kind of leaned in. He goes, I buy campaign signs. And I was like, oh, got it. That's how he goes, I buy both sides and usually more towards the person I think is going to win.
Yeah.
He goes, it's great marketing. They all know me.
That's smart. That's a good question though, because I know Tom and you had said this early on. We were talking, not today, but in general. One thing you wanted this channel to talk about was how to really help somebody grow their business.
Yeah.
And we could talk about the fundamentals of things. We know processes are an issue, but like if you were to give a surefire way for somebody to generate interest, leads, and get ROI, what would you say? What would be your advice?
Are you asking me or are you asking Tom?
I'm asking you, Juan, because Tom already said he'd like to hear more.
So for me, and this is why I created the MSP Growth Coalition, right? So I found passion in helping people, and I found that really during building my last MSP, that I enjoy seeing people be successful, man. Like at the end of the day, it's not about the money for me at all whatsoever. I mean, yeah, there's a component of it where I like to be financially stable, which I am, but I don't need to be the next Elon, right? We all think we'd like that, but that's a lot of responsibility that not a lot of people recognize. And so for me, it was about unlocking the true potential of people. And I think that if you want a surefire way, and I teach this in the Growth Coalition now, it's about the process that empowers the people to be successful. 110% every single time. You want to know how to change your business overnight? Go through your process. Like, what's your customer journey look like? And then look at what your employee journey looks like. Like, people often mistake even employee onboarding as something that they should do half-heartedly or they shouldn't invest time in. If you make investments in your people, I have my team that's with me right now will not leave my side. When I built my last MSP, when we closed the doors, my crew came to the door and said, Juan, we can rebuild. And I said, no, you don't understand. I have no money. And they said, I'm here with you no matter what, man, because you believed in me and I believe in you. And I was like, no. You don't understand. I got to go help. Like, the police will be here later to lock the doors. Like, like you don't get. I'm sorry, like there's no money, and they're like, we'll work for free, and like let's do this. Like you trusted us, and we trust you. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. Like it's over, right? So, and to this day, those people are still like, as soon as you got something for me, let me know. But it's about empowering the people. Like my team that I have with me now, and any of the entities that I have, they know that I believe in them. And so like all the companies that I have, like I can trust them. And I do that all the time. I say if the problem equals Juan, if the problem equals Juan, Juan is the problem. So yeah, I had to make sure I was right. So if the problem equals Juan, Juan's the problem. And so I intentionally say, look, I don't bring me any problems, just bring me solutions. And then if I like the solution to that, then we'll then go with it. Most of the time I just empower them to be successful. I'm like, just go try it. And if you fail, then cool. Then we know not to do that again.
Right. And let me know what that was. Let me know how you failed. Let me know what you did to fix it. That way I can tell other people, don't do this dumb thing.
Yeah, and that's where we learn from it, right? It's rapid learning, and you get into that empowerment component where people feel like their voice is heard. And so if you try that, that's probably the biggest thing. Like during the pandemic, like, a lot of people ask me, like, we stopped selling, we started helping, and you know how much we started growing during that? It was unfathomable because people were like, okay, they're not selling us anything. We didn't have major attrition. We didn't have a lot of customer loss. We didn't have a lot of employees other than, some of the other sides of the business did have issues, but and everyone wanted to come back, right? So when you think about that, for me, when I'm building companies or I'm helping others build companies, that's where I focus a lot of time and effort. Like they want to look over here on like how we drive sales and well, how do we do all this other marketing stuff? And I'm like, look, your sales and marketing will come from your process or your procedure. And trust me, the best marketing you can have is your people. When your people start advertising on social media about how happy they are and your customers see that, that influencer channel is way more valuable than anything you could ever buy. And from that, that's my 2 cents on it.
I like that.
I think it's a really important aspect of it too. It's that you kind of go back a little bit, the give without any expectation, just keep doing that. And it gets noticed to people. I joke that one of the reasons we won this really big company and we do infrastructure builds too, and all these warehouses was everyone came up with a pitch and a sale to try to solve their Wi-Fi problem. And honestly, I just walked over and looked at it and said, oh, your devices connecting are old. That's where your Wi-Fi problem is. He goes, how did I have other people that gave me an entire $50,000 bid to replace my Wi-Fi, but no one told me that this device doesn't support 802.11 roaming? I'm like, I don't know. I just looked at it and said, you can't roam, not because, as I said, I know devices above my head now support roaming. They're not broken. You have really old equipment on here. And he goes, good. I'm going to call you when we need something. And, later we won the bid to do all of their new warehouses because of it. And I said, I'm here. I'm here for a solution, not a sale. Let me just come up with a solution. Maybe the sale comes out of a solution. Maybe the solution is that thing's old. And I don't sell tablets attached to high-lows, but whoever does sell you those, they should sell you new ones. Not my part of the deal, but it'll solve your problem.
And again, I don't think enough people look internally. Everyone's looking outside for a magic wand, and there's not really a whole lot of magic wands to buy. But there is a lot of opportunity in your business and how you run it. Like a lot of people would ask me all the time, like, Juan, what would you do if you had to cold call somebody? And I'm like, I wouldn't, because there's no point in it for me. Like that's not the model of business that I'd like to run. I want customers to tell other customers so that they just buy. But again, here's the thing too, right? I said it at Shark Tank. I build products and services that people want to buy, and I add so much value that they can't say no to it, right? That's my model. Like I build stuff people want.
Right.
And the reason that they want it is because it's what they need. Like everyone needs technology.
It's a matter of technology do. That's the thing. It's like that actually is a good question then. So since you will be judging Pitch It, and I asked Jay this question, when you want to pick the winner, because you're gonna have three companies in front of you that are all gonna be valid in what they're doing. How are you gonna? What's your thought? What's your checklist? One that like first, second, and third. What would you say?
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is it's product market fit, right? Do you have a product that what kind of what kind of research have you done to know that whether or not this is the type of product that the channel or the enterprise or the world wants? Right? Like, that's what I always look for. Like, what problem are you solving? What's your go-to-market strategy around it? What problem does your product not only solve, but what is the problem that it solves that nobody knows it solves? And do you know it solves it? When I pitched to Shark Tank, I spent 8.5 hours on that deck. And I walked downstairs with my wife that night after spending a night in a hotel room, just racking my brain, making sure it was right. And I walked down and she goes, "So, does it solve the problem?" And I looked at her and I just shook my head and I said, "You're right, it doesn't." And I went upstairs and I rewrote it in 15 minutes and I submitted it right before midnight. And you know what it did was it solved a problem that they weren't asking for. And I always look for that. Like that's the Easter egg that I look for. It's like, have you recognized what your real problem is you solve, and have you circled it so you're educating on this new innovative feature?
Sure.
I'm always looking for innovation. Like, yes, you may be solving today's problem, but are you solving tomorrow's problem? That's where I look.
Right. And well, that's spot on. Like, and we can use cybersecurity as an example, right? For years, you've seen takedown vendors, right?
Yeah.
Takedown vendors, they take down spam, right? And phishing attempts, right? All they are is takedown vendors.
Yeah.
So, and I remember, I forget what years ago, Monster, the job site, was one of the largest purchasers of this, right? Because they were getting hacked, they were getting spammed and everything every day because they're taking resumes every day all along, right? And I forget what the amount they spent was, but it was millions a month almost. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And yeah, takedown vendors were necessary because they didn't know what they were encountering, but nobody ever built anything to take down the original, like where it came from.
Yeah.
Because all they were doing is some
Solving the
guy
problem on the back end.
yeah, some guy that like the Target hack, right? Some guy in Russia, he was like 15 years old or he was, created a fish, threw it on there, let it sit there, and it just picked up all the data. And then he took that same phishing kit and sold it on the black market to people for like 25 grand each, and now they're all using it too. So the takedown vendor literally is just taking down the ones that surfaced from the attack, not the actual kit itself.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem is
they're cleaning up the broken glass, but not stopping the glass from being broke.
Exactly. Like, God, just like, here it comes. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the broom.
It's like a Kenny Chesney concert. It's like, it's trash. It's like, just stop letting him go. Dude, that's a whole other story. But Kenny Chesney,
I'm out.
He'd be the core problem, man. I mean, I know he's a great performer, but my God, every city he goes to looks like Sarajevo at the end. I mean, it's like there's like destruction, dude. It's like Pittsburgh was destruct. Like the city, people brought couches and just sat them in the parking lot and left them sit there. It took them 3 days for the crew to clean up everything around it.
Yeah.
It's like, my God.
And we're paying them to do it. I love it. It's the best part, right? So, and to your point, fly swatters, right? I could pay $60 a month to spray for bugs and not have a bug problem. Or I could spend $1 million a year on fly swatters that I lose every 30 seconds, right? Electric ones, manual ones that do it by themselves, like shotguns, all these different things to solve the problem. But it's not even that we're not solving the problem. We're just being part of the problem.
You're the Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid.
Yeah, but I could spray for $60 and have solved that and save myself millions, right? It's like, so that's what I always look for. I look for the Easter egg inside of, do you see the problem that you're actually solving and what's the innovation behind it? That's a big one for me.
I like that. Okay, so a really serious question now. What is your love language? There's 5 of them, right? One is words of affirmation. I'm reading this. Acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. That's the 5. And not to say they don't love all the other things too. Like, we all love all the things, right? We obviously, I'm like, hey,
if you want to know love languages, you got to talk to my wife, because she dropped this off at my desk a little bit ago, like a little flower that legitimately budded while it was sitting here on my desk in this little tiny vase.
Nice.
So you want to talk a love languages, you got to talk to that girl. That's why I'm probably happily married.
That's awesome.
She would be happy I shared her flower.
Correct. She will be. Like, she's not part of the discussion.
Oh yeah, she's always part of the discussion. Yeah, she's great.
That's awesome. Actually, she talked about it a lot today. So actually, one thing I learned right now is, you need to have your Clyde to your Bonnie and Clyde, right? You have to have both in order to find success. If you have a partner like Tom has his wife, she's pretty awesome. I have my
You may
girlfriend.
have to read a book to figure out how the partnership works.
Well, so the Go Giver makes a book about marriage now. They wrote one.
Yes, he does. Bob Berg is amazing too.
Yes,
The Go Giver is a great book.
I've
Yes.
talked to Bob. He's amazing. Like he and I are peas in a pod.
Well, they have the Go Giver marriage.
Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Berg, good job. You and your partner on writing the first one. Definitely,
I know, right?
Go read it if you guys haven't read it. That is a good book.
Go Giver is an awesome book.
Yes.
I read that before I even knew Arlen. I know Arlen's he's a huge proponent here at Connectwise about it from Evolve. Oh my God, yeah. I think there's like a piece written about him or something in it. I don't even know. Like they mentioned it. I have to go read the book again.
Yeah, there's a section that was based on some Arlen.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Ask Bob Berg about it. He'll tell you.
Yeah. No, actually. So if you go look on my LinkedIn and look at Nigel Moore from Tech Tribe.
Yeah.
He and I had a conversation the other day. We talked about the Go Giver book coincidentally on our call. We were just having a conversation. Literally, like the next day, somebody posted a picture with it saying, "I love it." And then Nigel tagged me and was like, and I was like, go figure, and mentioned Arlen. And then Bob Berg responds, is like, Arlen is the man, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my God, like, seriously, thank you for everything you've done for us, Arlen. And I'm like, Arlen is like legitimate.
Yes, I have no doubts about that. I've had the pleasure of speaking with him on a numerous amount of stages. We did one called The Accidental Entrepreneur and together, and his perspective on future wealth planning was amazing. I've always enjoyed Arlen's conversation.
Dude, honestly, talking to him, you feel it's almost like you're feeling after you finish church, like you accomplished.
Yeah.
You know that feeling like where you went to the gym, but that's how it feels. Like it's euphoric, and he's just.
Did you say gym?
The gym. Yeah, gym. Yeah, well, church.
Yeah, church. Yes, gym.
Buffet.
I haven't been there in a minute.
Yeah, as Sean's church says something about unathletic.
Yeah, exactly. Rest is best. I mean, dead on. But yeah, no, like you talk to him and you feel like seriously, he's shoulder to shoulder with you on everything you do. He's non-judgmental, unlike you as a judge, or me silently judging. But he's like legitimately smart as like all heck. 100%. And actually, Tom, if you don't mind too, I'll give you the QR to put the QR code for the modes assessment. Have some MSPs look at that because that's built by. That's Arlen and Scott from our side. That's their baby, the modes theory.
We can throw it down in the link in the descriptions below.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I think it'd be good for some of these MSPs. It's free from the take and they get the assessment delivered to them. If they want to learn more about everything, they can always reach out, of course, but I don't care if it helps them to identify some of the gaps back to where you were when you made your mistake. Fact is you had to restructure yourself. I feel like.
Yeah, that was interesting. Like even during Christmas, I remember sitting down and my mother-in-law does this where you pull a word out of a jar and that's supposed to be like the thing you focus on, whether it be like, inner peace or whatever. And I remember during that time, like up until that point, like I had like a head like about this big. So it's kind of like a little smaller now, but not by much.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I figured.
You have a wide lens.
Is that what it is?
Or
I'll move back a little bit just so it like just a little bit smaller, Sean.
Or the camera's way far away.
Yeah, sure. So I pull out humility and I was like, all right, I do need to learn some humbleness, right? So I did have to like retool myself because up until that point, like I just felt like I couldn't be stopped. And let me tell you what, I went full stop real quick. So thank the Lord for all of his hard work and effort he wanted to put into me. But man, that was a rough one.
I'm sure. My Lord. Yeah. But no, we're over our time. I know that. So I have a call. I have work to do, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got work to do. But thank you, Tom. You want to kick us off?
Yep. Thanks for doing all this. All the things we mentioned will be down in the description below. We're going to be looking forward to the judging going on and not the silent judging from Sean. But yeah, what's a good way to connect with you? Your
Yeah,
LinkedIn?
definitely come find me on LinkedIn,
Perfect.
Juan Fernandez. You can also ping me at the MSP Growth Coalition. You can also find me over at IT by Design's Build It event. So come see us
Awesome.
there as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time. Much appreciated, and have a great day.
All right. Thanks, you guys.